restart the stupid computer. So my apologies. But I am here. No idea why it decided to be that way. Always an adventure whenever you deal with Second Life or the internet. Well, I am glad you guys are here today. And I'm so glad you were able to join us. So we are starting a new series, and I know it's a little early for Christmas, but I've got some stuff I want to lead up to Christmas, and I want to talk about the incarnation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time looking at the incarnation and what that involves. So, but I want you to understand something, that Christmas is not, believe it or not, Christmas is not the most important holiday in the Christian year. It really isn't. And we're going to talk about that a little bit and why we tend to like Christmas more than we do any other Christian holiday. But you know, at Christmas we sing songs like "What Child Is This?" or we sing who is he in yonder stall?" And the amazing thing is that the answer that you give to that question determines your eternal destiny. There is no question on planet Earth that that it is the most important question in the entire world. Who is this child? Well, we know that there are different answers to that question. The answer to popular culture is that this child is a baby, at best a teacher, but he's primarily harmless. He's one who puts his arms around everybody and tells us we should simply love everybody. But he's not the kind of Jesus who would interrupt our lifestyle or condemn us. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons we like Christmas as much, is because it puts him in the manger. That means he's not a threat to our lifestyle. We don't have to change anything if all we're dealing with is baby Jesus. Because he isn't critical. He isn't important. And so he doesn't call us to anything as a baby in a manger. He's not a Jesus who would point out your sin. He's not that Jesus. He's the Jesus of popular imagination. And as long as he stays a baby, nobody's afraid of him. We like to keep him in the manger. And I think we like to keep him in the manger because it doesn't call us to examine our lives, to make changes, because he's not Lord we think of in the manger. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that he's God incarnate, which means while he was in the manger, he was still God. He was still doing all the things that God needed to do. In fact, the Bible teaches us that without Jesus, the world exists because Jesus makes it so. And without his intervention, without him being engaged in it, we would cease to exist. And that's kind of scary to us because we don't like to think, well, we think we got all the answers. So we don't need this God telling us what to do. We really don't. In fact, there are kinds of warm feelings that we have about Jesus. And he's a wonderful universal man. He applies himself to everyone. And all that we need to do is take him like a book at Christmas. We bring him down at Christmas. We dust him off. We read him. We put him back on the shelf. And he's gone for the year. And that's the answer of popular culture. That's kind of what the world sees him as, not a threat. He's just a sideshow to Santa Claus. And here's the thing. Prior to the 1930s, there wasn't a Santa Claus. Santa Claus was created by the Coca-Cola Corporation in the 1920s to sell Coca-Cola. It became popular in the 30s and 40s. But prior to that, there was no Santa. Now, there was a St. Nicholas, but St. Nicholas was very different from the Santa Claus we know today. St. Nicholas wasn't a hero of faith. He wasn't a hero of faith. He wasn't a hero of mythology. He wasn't an elf. He didn't live at the North Pole. In fact, St. Nicholas lived in a place called Turkey. And he was the very wealthy son of some very wealthy people. And he decided he didn't want to go into family business. And he converted to Christianity and was pastoring a church in what we call Turkey today. He didn't have reindeer. But a member of his church his family ran into some hard times, and